Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast. Now, one of the things that has always amused me about the modern workplace is that typically we have huge open plan offices where every person is interrupted upon average around, 11 minutes. So we spend so much time employing people, bringing them into an office to do stuff, complete objectives, complete tasks, and then put them in an environment where they're interrupted every 11 minutes. When you then throw in meetings and other digital distractions, is it any wonder that a lot of people struggle to get stuff done on time? And even if you just wanted to go somewhere quiet, I think typically securing a quiet meeting room takes 2 to 3 weeks' notice. And ironically, how many offices do you see with huge meeting rooms with 12 chairs out there that are just not utilising the space properly? And this is a digital age of flexibility, remote working, and the personalisation of everything. And tech is supposed to be helping us all collaborate and be more innovative. But a company called Room wants to reimagine the modern workplace. Don't get me wrong, they don't think the open office is dead. Rather, it just needs to be rethought, redesigned, and renewed. But what really excites me about this company is they're putting people at the centre of everything that they do, starting with the soundproof phone booths that they're building at the moment, which are also incredibly affordable and are designed to inspire life at work and help a company build a brighter future. Intrigued, right? Me too. So come with me on a trip to San Francisco, where Brian from Room.com is waiting to speak with us today. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little more about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, my name is Brian Chen. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Room. At Room, we're on a mission to reimagine the modern workplace, and our first product is a soundproof phone booth that ships flat, assembles on site, and is designed to give people a moment of peace and quiet in the open floor plan.
And that is so needed, isn't it, in that open plan office now? It always seems that there's so much noise and somebody tapping you on the shoulder every 5 minutes. And when I first saw what you guys have created, it looks incredibly cool. And I will add a video of that on the blog post that accompanies this podcast. But I've got to ask, what was the story behind Room? I mean, was there a moment that made you want to just rethink the modern workplace?
For sure, it always starts with like the personal pain point, right? Yeah. And I've worked at startups in the past. I've started companies in the past, and it's always a very painful experience when you move into an office and there's nowhere to take a phone call. If you have to call your wife or your girlfriend, it's always very painful if you need to go to the sidewalk or into the stairwell, right? So it definitely started with this personal pain point, but there was a discovery process for us where we learned not only that there's no easy way to solve the problem today at scale. You can hire a general contractor and talk to your landlord and get a building permit, and it costs probably $20,000. We realized basically that there is no easy way to solve the problem, but we also realized that there's really a gap when it comes to brands and companies that are doing really interesting things in the workplace that resonate with the modern workforce. So the truth is that, modern offices are failing the modern workforce. And that's ultimately what got us excited as to why we wanted to start Room.
Excellent. And from that moment, of course, you went on to create soundproof phone booths. But for people listening, just to help them visualize, can you talk me through how they look and the kind of problems that you initially set out to solve with them?
So the soundproof phone booth, I guess, first of all, the important thing to know is that it ships flat. It arrives at your office in 5 flat-packed boxes. It takes less than an hour to assemble, so customers can assemble it themselves, or we provide white glove assembly services as well. And it's incredibly easy to buy, right? So you can go to our website, room.com, and basically enter your credit card info and have it show up a few weeks later. So it's very, very easy to buy. And the way it works is it's made out of, there are actually 1,088 recycled plastic bottles in each phone booth that are used for sound absorption. And essentially what that helps us achieve is a phone booth environment where you can have privacy enough to make a phone call and feel like it is confidential, and not have to worry about disturbing your colleagues. There's a door that's made out of plexiglass that's clear, so you can walk in and out very easily, know whether someone's inside. There's of course ventilation, so we've designed the product such that there are 2 fans in the roof. There's an air inlet in the floor, and that allows, because actually cold air sinks and hot air rises, it works as a little bit of a natural kind of air conditioning, so that the phone booth will stay cool even when you are inside for longer than a few minutes. And it basically, it's priced such that you can buy as many as you need to solve the problem. Each phone booth costs about $3,500, and we basically have designed it so that if you have a floor plan of 50 people and you need to solve the problem and you need to buy 5 phone booths, that it's still within an affordable range of budget.
And what kind of size are they as well? So I'm just thinking for business leaders that are maybe thinking, well, maybe we might need 5 of these. How much room do they need?
The footprint of each phone booth is just under 4 feet by 4 feet. It's about 3.5 by 3.5. So it's a fairly small footprint. And actually, one of the things that we think is most valuable about the product is it really does let you do more with less in terms of office square footage. And in today's day and age, office real estate is so expensive. It only gets more and more expensive every year. So being able to make sure that you're maximizing the usage of your existing floor plan is so important. And the phone booth really helps you do that. And it helps you make sure that your employees don't have to go outside onto the sidewalk, right, or go into a stairwell.
And I'm curious, how are your customers using these? I mean, are they using it for video calls with remote workers, or is it just giving someone an option to escape the noise of an open office and focus on a task for an hour, or is it something completely different, or a mixture of all those things?
It's really a mixture of all of those things, yeah. Right? I mean, we spend a third of our lives at work, so it's a lot of time that we spend in the office, and during those hours, right? I'm sure that you know this as well, and I certainly experience this in my daily life. But there are always reasons to make personal calls, whether it's to family or to a doctor or something like that. There are reasons to make sure that you have privacy. So for professional phone calls, whether it is an HR matter or a confidential matter that your colleagues should not be hearing. Video conferencing is a big driver. The frequency with which we video conferences is just skyrocketing, especially with salespeople who are doing video demos. And remote work is also skyrocketing. So the amount of kind of virtual collaboration and virtual communication that we need to do is increasing, and our phone booth helps accommodate those use cases. But interestingly, sometimes it's not about getting into a phone booth to make a phone call. Sometimes it's actually about going into the phone booth to take a moment for focused work, and so the open floor plan oftentimes is very noisy, right? So the phone booth offers an opportunity to get that peace and quiet. We actually just did a collaboration with Calm, which is the #1 health and wellness app. They have over 55 million downloads across the world. And we have designed a meditation booth in collaboration with them so that employers now can provide a little bit of space in the open floor plan for meditation, or for just that moment where you can recenter and refresh and take a little bit of a break that will allow you to be more productive and more creative down the road.
I must admit, it often feels like almost every aspect of our lives has evolved, especially through technology, but the traditional office has remained largely the same. So in a world where we need to be connected and be more collaborative, especially when bouncing between conference calls, video calls, and working with remote workers, from the conversations that you've been having, are businesses realising that the days of big meeting rooms with 12 chairs round a table that are booked up for weeks at a time, that kind of attitude is just no longer fit for purpose?
Yeah, absolutely. We see it a lot, but it's also very slow to change, right? Yeah. Because for the most part, companies are forced to sign leases that are at least 5 years long. And so you have to plan your office with the next 5 years in mind. And oftentimes the leases are 10 or 15 years long, right? So if you think about the technology changes that you mentioned and how we used to work 10 or 15 years ago, and the offices that were designed at that point, they were designed with desktop computers in mind. Yeah. They were certainly not designed with the level of mobility that we experience today. So we see this kind of painful mismatch that our customers experience all the time, which is they're locked into these offices for a substantial amount of time, and yet things are changing so quickly in terms of how we work that there becomes this mismatch, and that 12-person boardroom that was originally designed is now mostly used by one person on a phone call. Or we oftentimes call it the CEO problem, right? Like the CEO might be in there in a phone call, and everybody's afraid to kick him or her out because it's CEO. But then nobody has a place to meet. There are no meeting rooms, and there are no places to take phone calls either. I think that we actually start seeing, because of this mismatch, it's actually what has led us to this massive boom when it comes to flexibility in real estate. Flexible office providers are really taking off. WeWork or not, there are lots of companies that now provide flexible office solutions, and our customers are demanding our product also because our product speaks to the same level of flexibility. You can add or subtract or move around our product as the needs of the business change.
So my understanding is then anybody listening, any business leader anywhere in the world can order one of these from you. It will be delivered to their office. They can self-assembly, or they've got the white glove service where somebody can fit it together for them. But if somebody wanted to try before they buy or see one of these in the flesh, how do they view it? Is there just an online showroom, or do you have any scattered around the country and world?
So our answer is starting by saying that it's always been our philosophy to make the purchase experience as seamless and convenient as possible, and to really take a consumer approach. When we got started, we saw the fact that B2B purchases are oftentimes so much more filled with friction than the experiences that we are accustomed to on a consumer level. So there's oftentimes very little price transparency, or you need to request a quote, and then you get a PDF by email or fax sometimes. So it's a very difficult process. So what we set out to do is create a very consumer-like purchase experience that feels just like any other e-commerce experience that you would do at home. And for us, one of the key features of that was free assembly and a 100-day risk-free trial. If you can, so that's what we honor. And what that means for us is at our price point, and with the 100-day risk-free trial and free shipping and the entire seamless customer journey, an office manager at a Fortune 500 company can still buy our product very, very easily just by swiping the credit card. And yeah, we honor that 100-day risk-free trial. Honestly, we see very, very few returns because the moment that our phone booth lands in an office, people realize immediately how much it's needed. And then you start seeing it used frequently throughout the day. And once you have that, it's really hard to take away.
I'd love to see some of the kind of reactions. I would imagine they get a lot of attention in an open plan office, don't they?
Yeah, we literally... our assembly people will tell us stories sometimes where once, they're still assembling the phone booth and still putting the final touches on it and somebody's already, inside because they need it so desperately, or there have been lines that have been formed the moment that phone booths are installed, because they are very much a necessary good in today's workplace.
Well, I love how you guys are on this mission to build a thoughtful, affordable solution, actually inspires life at work and actually help everyone build a brighter future. But what is next for Room? How do you see your product offering evolving as we head forward?
Well, one of the key insights for us, in addition to the idea that we want to build a brand that becomes synonymous with creative, fun, productive work environments. One of the insights for us is that the need for flexibility is really a big driver of demand, right? So we spoke about that a little bit earlier. But at this point, we launched in May of 2018. At this point, we have over 2,200 businesses as customers. Our business is really, really taking off. We're going to do over $30 million of business in 2019. And what our customers are telling us constantly is that, yes, our product helps solve noise and privacy in the open floor plan, but what it really, really gives them and what they really find valuable is the fact that we provide a flexible solution that doesn't require construction. So for us, as we think about the roadmap and as we think about the most urgent problems to solve in the modern office, it's about how do we enable a great work environment that requires zero construction and is flexible to change. That doesn't really exist today, but that's what we're setting out to create. And there should be no surprise, but our most frequently requested product from our customers is a larger format room. Right. So one that can be purpose-built, that can accommodate the use of smaller meetings, one-on-ones, of interviews, and of wellness or private office. So a larger room is definitely something that we're working on and that we're spending a lot of time to make sure that we get right.
And are you only shipping in the US at the moment, or do you have any plans to ship beyond the US in the future?
We actually just started selling our product in Europe. We just launched last month, starting with the UK. And a lot of the customers that we sell to are actually global multinational firms, right? So companies like Salesforce or JP Morgan, Nike. And of course, all of these customers, if they like our phone booths in one office, they certainly have a need for phone booths in their offices around the world. So it's actually been a request from a very early stage. And we have been asked to go global much earlier in our kind of company history than we would have originally thought. But we're very happy to say that we are now available throughout a lot of Europe as of last month, and there are more countries that we're rolling out in coming months. So it's a very exciting time for us.
Fantastic. And for anyone listening that wants to just find out more information about and see those videos, what is the best place to find you online, and what's the best way of contacting your team if anybody listening has got any questions and they want to carry on that conversation?
Well, this is a very fun thing to say because it's very easy to remember, but anybody can come to see us at room.com. That's ROOM.com. You can find our phone number, you can find our email address very easily, but an email to support@room.com will get you to the right place.
Well, before I let you go, I've got to say, how did you get that URL? I thought that would have gone years ago.
Yeah, well, nobody was using it for anything productive. So it was kind of a dummy site. And, we wanted to make sure that as we build this iconic brand that redefines how we work, that there would be an easy domain name to reference to go along with our vision. So it took some negotiation, took quite a while to get, but we're very happy that we're on it.
Fantastic. Well, I often say that we're all surrounded now by the personalisation of everything, and our homes are full of technology, and we're taking those expectations into the office where very often it can feel like we're going back in time for 10 years. And especially when making those B2B purchases, it seems to hit friction straight away. So I love this consumer-like purchase experience that you've created, and creating that flexible office solution and flexible working environments that kind of reflect our home life and our personal lifestyles too. So a big thank you for coming on and sharing that with me today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Neil.
Please check out the video of this in action over at my website, techblogwriter.co.uk/room. And you'll see just how cool these booths are. And I suspect that if one of these was to drop inside your office, I do suspect people would be fighting over grabbing that Instagram selfie rights and getting it online as soon as possible. But I'm curious, how is your organisation utilising its office space, or more importantly, its meeting space? Do you work for a company that's actually mastered the art of utilising that space, or a company that's still clinging on to the past? Email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, tweet me at Neil C. Hughes, and keep those messages coming in. And also remember to email me if you want a shout out on the 1000th episode that we've got coming up. Getting quite exciting now, isn't it? So I'm going to go for a lie down before I excite myself too much. A big thank you to Brian for coming on today, and an even bigger thank you to everybody listening. But until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.